What's up, y'all? It's your boy Crow down here in the South Willamette Valley. And it's raining like a bitch. Should be a pretty good slush storm here in a little bit. This here hat is the first hat that I put a pattern in, and I didn't want to disrespect anybody else's pattern, and I had a couple things in mind when I did it. You know what I'm saying? But what I did is what all these hats that I did, they have a pattern in them based on the lengths of yarn. You know, I'm not so skillful as to, well, let's just say this particular pattern here is intended to be a kind of camouflage for Jefferson State Infantry. And what it is it's a series of triple repeating ones. It's 1 fathom of yarn between 3 fathoms of yarn. And then it's 1 fathom of yarn between 3 fathoms of yarn, and that's how the colors alternate, and that's how I end up with the patterns that I end up with, because I'm just making a repeating series of 111s. Just to show you how the hat making's going, that was one of my first ones there, and I had some issues developing size and coming up with my pattern, but we've gone from that to, I don't know how the light is in here, to this, to these guys, to this guy. And I know a lot of you got hats coming, and it's just work slow right now, so you're gonna have to give me a minute to hustle up some mail money or gas money to bring your hats or send your hats or whatever. But my reason for talking about the hats right now is to lead into a topic about the numbers 111. And like, I'm pretty much every story that you hear about anything, you know, there's another version of it or whatever. But just like the same way that all the stories about the movements of Jesus in the Bible, if you look into them, are really stories about the movements of the sun, and it's a way of teaching kids a story that will help them to remember when to plant their crops and when to harvest their crops. You know what I mean? The following the 3 kings, or the belt of Orion, to the star of the east, which is Sirius, to where the sun rises on Christmas, to where the sun sets on Easter, as it goes down the southern cross, as the Son of God dies on the cross. You know what I mean? You see what I mean? There's all these weird little stories in there, but it's really just to make you remember something basic. And I heard a story about the numbers 111 once upon a time, pertaining to 111 dancing girls that got killed on a particular island, but that's neither here nor there. What I just happen to know, and this is, you know, I don't believe there's any such thing as coincidence, but I happen to know another significance besides that story that I heard in Northern California about a repeating series of ones. And back in Europe, a lot of times folks intermingle the words math and magic, you know, and you can even watch Math and Magic with Donald Duck when you're trying to do the first like pre-calculus and pre-algebra type lessons and shit like that. But what I want to show you is there's a circumstance called, you can either call it a magic square or you can call it a math square, and it's based on certain numbers of grids that with certain number representations in them add up to other number representations. You guys may have seen this before. This is a chessboard, okay? People say that this is what the Knights Templar brought back from Jerusalem. Well, this square right here is called the square of Mercury, because there's a bunch of numbers that you can put into these boxes that will have representations. I believe they add up to 64. But this series of numbers is a representation of the invisible power, the prayer related power pertaining to entities that have an allegiance to the planet Mercury. That's why it's called the square of Mercury. So this right here, which I've taken the time to write out for you, is called the square of the sun. The square of the sun has 6 boxes, as opposed to the chessboard, which has 8 boxes, going both ways. 6 boxes going both ways. And if you write these numbers in the order in which I've written them down here, then every time you add these numbers up, no matter which way you add them up, they all equal. Like if you go 36 plus 5 plus 33 plus 4 plus 2 plus 31, it's going to equal 111. And if you do 1 plus 31 plus 24 plus 13 plus 12 plus 31, it's going to equal 111. So in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, it talks about the mark of the beast, and it says anyone who has knowledge of numbers can recognize the mark of the beast based on this number 666. Okay, so it just so happens that in Europe, in the Western Hemisphere, the biggest evil that came upon us was men trying to stomp out the women, and they did it behind their allegiance to the sun. So if you take these same numbers that's in this box and you say 6 times 7 times 19 times 18 times 25 times 36, the numbers come out to 666. And if you do the same thing, 6 times